If you have prayer requests for Truthseekers, email those to Jan. And if you have prayer requests for challengers,
let me know.
And yeah. All right. So Jan and I had a great time in Thailand. Bonnie, what would you like to say?
You know what? Linda came, I saw Linda came last night, and she was telling us that Carol Brown is in a facility now, and that it's really nice. And let me see where I put the rest of this really quick. It's a nice place, and Bonnie Moffitt's the same place Bonnie Moffitt is, and that she has some type of cancer, and they put a pacemaker in, and she just couldn't be by herself anymore. So anyhow, this is the information if you're interested in like calling her or, you know, going and seeing her. So I'm just going to pass it around. I don't want to.
I did talk to Carol this week.
Oh, good.
And she did ask everyone to pray for her because she's doing exercises and is hoping to gain back strength. And then she said, please pray for wisdom and strength. And it was good to get through to her. Sometimes I can't get through to her. It's Huntington Terrace.
Yes,
She's
and
at.
that's the name of it and everything.
All right, so if you have prayer requests, go ahead and send those to Jan. So we just returned from Bangkok. Thailand is a wonderful country filled with wonderful people. It's a very spiritually dark place. And it's particularly challenging because the people are pretty comfortable in their spiritual darkness. So we were at Santasak English Schools, which was started by Steve and Nopala Cable as an outreach mission in Bangkok, because a large percentage of Thai live in the greater metropolitan Bangkok area. Bangkok is enormous. It's like the greater LA basin. You know, go and think of Chino and Riverside and all of that's Bangkok. It's huge. Sprawling area, lots and lots of people. And we had a great time.
It was cooler this year than it was last year, so I wasn't dying from the heat as much. Plus also I spent a year collecting linen and cotton clothing, and that really makes a huge difference. So yeah, polyester is not what you wear in hot.
How hot was it?
In the mid to high 80s.
Yeah, it was cool. They were having a cold snap. Yeah. So let me tell you, there is nothing like having a 36-hour travel day and finishing it up at the Bangkok airport and seeing a smiling face speaking English to you. That was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Ethel from the school came out and had a rented van to pick us up, and boy, what a wonderful way to start our time in Thailand. So Jan, go ahead.
Okay, this is a picture of the school and the buildings around it. And in the corner over here, this black building, that's one of the newest buildings in the area, I believe. And when they built that, it shook the ground enough that it took some of the stairs in the front of the school, and they pulled away from the building a little bit. So now they're, instead of being flat when you go to walk in, they're canted down a little bit. It's a challenge, but they just don't have building codes, and they don't have OSHA for stuff. But this yellow building here, this is our school building, and up here at the top is where the church is. Then you walk across this street here, and this next picture is from across the street. That's a view of the building. The buildings are all stuck together, sort of like condos here, but you own your own building. So that yellow one is the one that's Santisuk, and where all the cables are across there, that's the second floor, and that's where we were.
So that narrow slice of that block of buildings, we call the Mission House, and those are the apartments given for people like us who are doing short-term missions there.
This is the stairway that we go up to get to our floor. This year we were on the second floor, so we only had to go up one flight of stairs. And our bedroom was absolutely adequate. That's the way I describe it. We didn't have an extra room. One of us had to crawl into the bed from the foot. You see it's right up against the wall, and that is a queen-size bed. And then the closet is over on the right. That's where we had all the room for our storage.
You get dressed one at a time.
The bathroom is almost exactly 1 meter wide. I could have used another 6 inches because, you know, I kept smacking my elbow using the toilet. But it was adequate, so I have no complaints about that. You'll see better if you move over.
I can see. Thank you.
Can anyone say compact?
Oh, and by the way, this is the water heater for the unit. The only hot water that you have in the unit is for the shower. All the faucets are just room temperature water, and that's fine because normally that water is about 86 degrees any time of the day or night, any time of the year, so it's great for washing dishes, shaving, anything you want to do except taking a shower.
So you have to remember to turn that water heater off when you're done too. This is the common room where you go for all the things that you jointly do. We hosted our cell group one time too. We had 14 people in that room, and it was fun. We sang songs and we played games and we heard Bible stories.
An intimate gathering.
Yeah. There's Jim standing at the sink. When you go to a restaurant over there, they don't have napkins like we have here. There's a little dispenser on the table that's about this big, and it houses these little pieces of tissue paper that are the size of 2 pieces of toilet paper. That's it. I don't know if they're just neater eaters than we are, but you don't have anything to spread across your lap in case something falls. So you bring your own. The lunch lady moved. This was the restaurant that was, if you see over here on the right-hand side, that's the door that comes out of the stairway that you come down. It's right there. It opens into this restaurant. And the lady that used to have that had changed locations. And we never did find her. But we did wind up getting to know some
We
people.
did see her, but we didn't find where she was working.
Yeah.
So a wonderful thing, we arrived on Sunday morning, and that's when the cell groups are going on. So we weren't expecting to see anybody, but as soon as the cell groups finished up, our entire cell group showed up at our front door to welcome us. That was very, very cool.
Yeah, that was when I forgot about that. This is the outdoor kitchen that's outside of the lobby of the school, right here where these doors are. You go in there and you're in the lobby of the school in that big yellow building. And you can sit out there and eat your lunch or visit. It's also where the Friday night dinners are served when we have the church services. It's hard to get used to we're so used to work week being Monday through Friday and churches on Sunday. But the school week there is Monday through Thursday and churches on Friday. And you wake up on Saturday morning and you think, oh, it's Sunday. No. What day is it? So if you're me, you have a lot of trouble figuring out what day it is. Jim did better with that than I did. So when you get there, first thing you have to do is go get some supplies so that you have your food and basics. This is the Sky Train, and there's a walkway on there underneath the top part where the train goes, and it looks like this. So we're walking down to the mall, which is about a 15 to 20 minute walk. Go down there and get our stuff and schlep it back. I found out I can do without Diet Pepsi.
So the skywalk is really nice because it's up. You don't get all the traffic noise. You don't get all of the traffic smells. It's a nicer way to move around.
Also, if you look on this picture, down here, the sidewalk is right there next to the street, and the cars on this side are going that way. So if this is the sidewalk, that's the street. And when the buses go by, it can be a little frightening.
And the scooters do drive on the sidewalk, and they'll go both ways on the sidewalk. So if you're a pedestrian, you don't have the right of way if you're a pedestrian. The scooters have the right of way, so you're always looking around. because you can't hear them because there's so much traffic noise. It's interesting. So we got there early. We did this on purpose so that we could acclimatize to the time change and be actually useful when classes started. So since we were there early, they put us to work early. So Jan and I were both teaching classes and doing things that the first few days when we were there before we got our own classes. So I taught a class, and these were a couple of the students who were in that class. This is Carl and Amy from China. And these guys had grown up in northern China. They went through university and they went through a degree program and they got degrees in film production. Carl in particular is completely fed up with China. He almost died during COVID because of the way the government handled the lockdowns in China. And so they wanted to learn English, came to Santasook. Their plan is to not go back to China, but they are going to go on to live in Australia. And then when the international climate improves somewhat, they want to come to the US. And I mention this just because Santasook doesn't only teach Thais. They get people from all over the place. In this same class was a young gal from Iran. So they're from all over the place. And we had really good conversations with them, both in class and outside of class.
They were really friendly. Jim got to actually teach a class. The teachers that were leaving were college age, and one of the girls who had taught this class, her parents were in town, and she really wanted to spend the last day of classes with them because then they would go together home. So Jim took her class for the last day. What I did was there's a pre-test that they give beginners that are coming in at level 1 to find out where they are in their English. At this school, if you don't know any English at all, you can start here. And they'll teach you from the ground floor of the ABCs and that stuff. So the assessment test was for the higher level, they were going to start at level 1, and they wanted to know where they were. So I got to be involved with that. That was kind of fun. So on a Saturday night at 7:30 or something. They worked us to death. It was fun. Hey, this one's on you.
Oh, this is a funny little car. They sell cars inside the shopping malls. They have car dealerships in the shopping malls.
Buy a dress, here's a car to go with.
And so this one is Or a Good Cat. That's a brand that we don't have here. Very Thai thing. The reason that we were there in the shopping mall is a couple of students who were not ours, they were actually Amy's.
Yes.
Irene and Kim wanted to take us to Central World Market, which is near downtown Bangkok. It's some distance away. So this was quite an expedition. And we did this by water taxi. And the water taxis run on the canals through the city. We would not have attempted this at all without the students. No way would we have done this on our own. The first thing they did was they put us on a city bus. We had never taken a city bus. Terrifying experience for us. But they, give this guy your money and stand here, and when I yell, jump out the door. So it was fun. Everything worked perfectly. So we took the water taxi. It was about an hour ride to get across town, and we got to Central World Market. So here we are in the food court, eating with Kim and Irene, and that Central World Mall is quite amazing. Out in front, they had all of these figures set up. I don't know if they were even selling them, but they were just there. 10 floors, and this thing covers many city blocks. It just goes on and on and on. You think of the Mall of America in a place in the US that has really crummy weather. The malls in Bangkok are like that because nobody wants to be outdoors. They all want to be inside in the air conditioning. So these things are huge. It was a fun day to be there. This was the Queen Mother's birthday. Everybody loves the Queen Mother. She is revered, and the Queen Mother's birthday is celebrated as Mother's Day. So they had little kids doing karaoke on the ground floor
Down
in the
here.
mall, down at the very bottom, where you see the green. And it was fun. It was a fun day to be there. Imagine 7 sets of escalators. This is a big, big place. This was the iPhone store inside the mall.
What?
And there's
iPhone.
the
You
cell
getting your
phone
angel's
store.
wings sooner, is that?
Yeah, so they had this sculpture. It's a fish.
But they just had it there so in a stool for you to sit on to have your picture taken there.
The Bangkok skyline is very modern, it's beautiful, and nestled right in the middle of all this modernity, along with the Apple store that you see there, is a large Buddhist temple complex. Buddhism is absolutely 100% integrated into the fabric of Thai life. If you are Thai, you are Buddhist. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is your identity.
They teach it in the schools. It's part of the curriculum from when you first start going to school.
Yep.
And every year you have it.
So-
And when we were headed to this temple, you can hit the next slide. One of the students texted me on the translation app, "Will you worship?" And I said to her, I texted back and I said, "No, but I will be respectful, because I worship one God." I think she even said, can you worship, did she say?
I think
Will
it
you?"
was, can you worship, yeah.
I said, no.
So, yeah, that was not an appropriate place for us to worship. There were a lot of people in there praying.
And it turns out I did pray because I was praying for all these Buddhists to come to know the Lord.
Yep.
There was that.
Beautiful complex. They had wonderful landscaping. Elephants, who doesn't love elephants? Boy,
All
they've
of
got-
the clothing.
So that was our trip to Central World. And the kids love this kind of stuff because it gives them a chance to practice their English on us in a non-threatening way. And they learn stuff and we learn stuff.
By the way, when I typed that in the letter, Central World with a W and a capital O, that was not a typo. That's how they do it. That's how they write that. Okay, so the next outing that we had was to the National Museum. And this is the students in my class. This is my class took us there. And of course, they wanted to include Teacher Jim. They knew us both very well because we spent a ton of time in the lobby. In fact, the whole first week, I think we were there most of the days.
Pretty much every day.
And then we got sick. We got
Little.
Jim got a cold first, and then I got it. And I was out for the whole weekend, the first weekend there.
Pretty much everybody we knew had it. It
Yeah.
was just going around.
Kids were missing periodically from the class because they had it, but it went by quickly. And then, so they all got to know us. So when my kids planned an outing, they said, "Can Teacher Jim come too?" Yeah. So they took us there. This is they got a Grab van. Grab was sold to them from Uber. So when you get Grab, you're getting an Uber ride. And they got a deluxe van, and here's our kids in the back. You see Tally, who was not one of our students, but he was hanging out in the lobby, so he knew us, he wanted to come. And that's Snoop on the back right, he's so cute. He was talking to us early on when we got there, and he said that he was kind of in awe of the teachers from America. And I thought, you're kidding. Okay. Pote here on the left, I was so happy to get him to open up a little bit, because he was very, very shy. We first got there, and when we were doing our sentences, his head would be down, and he would read. And every time I got a chance to say, "Perfect, good job," he would just kind of glow. And that was fun.
Most Thais are very reserved by nature. And it was interesting, we observed this last year and then this year, that at about the end of the second week, it's like a switch flips, they become familiar with you and comfortable, and they really open up. But it takes a while.
This is View with Jim. They like to do these cute things with their hands when they take pictures. I don't know what the deal is, but they all do it. And here is Cake. She's sitting in the what would be the driver's seat in a US car, but that's the passenger seat. So that took some getting used to too. I wasn't as cognizant of being driven on the wrong side of the street because I wasn't looking out that much. The entrance to the National Museum.
So the National Museum is like the Smithsonian from Thailand. The kings all had personal collections of art and archaeological artifacts, and they would donate those to the National Museum from their private collections. It's enormous. It covers acres, many, many buildings. So that's where we spent the bulk of the day.
There's a pagoda or pavilion outside that honors the Queen Mother, and the kids thought that would be a great place to take photos. So of course you don't take a photo, you take 25 photos.
Yeah, so these are the toys, right?
Yeah.
These were toys that were made for the king's children. And, they had so many interesting exhibits like this. It was really cool. And the kids love this because they get to explain to us what these exhibits are all about. They get to practice their English, which is why we do these outings.
These are just up-close pictures of those little tiny things. They're little kitchen implements and little food and all that stuff that you just picture little kids playing with these tiny things.
So there's a lot of religious imagery here, and we won't dwell on this too much. Figures like this, these are Buddhist prayer wheels, and then we get into the weird stuff. You know, Buddhism originally was supposed to be a way to free mankind from the horrible oppression, spiritual oppression of Hinduism. And what they ended up with in Thailand is this weird agglomeration of Buddhism and Hinduism, which got short-circuited through Burma from India into Thailand. And they got a mess, a spiritual mess there. They have a whole bunch of deities, very bizarre stuff in Thailand. It's not what I would consider to be pure Buddhism. But they do have elephants. And the elephants are awesome.
And big. Look at the size of that thing compared to us. That stand he's on is only about this tall. That is a huge elephant. I was just blown away by that.
So one of the exhibits that they had was the funeral barges or funeral ships that were used for the kings. And the king would be cremated in a box like what we had on the opening slide there. You saw that incredibly ornate sandalwood box that was hand carved with all that lace work. That's where you cremate the king. And then the king's ashes go in an urn, and they go on a ship like this, and they go up in the throne, and they have a lift that puts them up there, and then the urn is carried through the streets. And they had videos of this happening, and you would have thousands of people lining the road with their foreheads pressed to the ground, and they would be in that position for a long, long, long time while the king went by. These guys revere their kings. There is
Some more than others.
a lot of awe and reverence.
They really love the king they had just before the one they have now.
Is there a reason why they love him? I mean, is it something that...
I'm glad you asked that. Yes, there is a reason why they love that king, and Nopaluk was the one who told me about it. King Rama IX he looked around his country and he said there were so many people that were starving. So what he did was he took a bunch of the royal land and told them that they could have it to farm on. And they're still using that, and there's a store in the
We'll get to
central
that in just a few
market
seconds here.
where they sell all the stuff that they grow and then make into things. This is how you get there. Oh no, this was...
Yeah, so we took this little tiny ferry across the river. The river cuts right through the center of the city. And we actually got across the river to the other side of Bangkok for the first time. And again, they got scooters that run right inside the indoor-outdoor mall. There's other buzzing around in there doing
Yeah.
pickups and deliveries.
This is a store, and this is a store. And that walkway is, it's 4 feet wide. So there's a motorcycle. One of them hit me with this rear view mirror one time on the way by. I wasn't hurt.
So the kids found a place for us to eat lunch.
A little sidewalk place.
And then they went into a shop and came out a couple minutes later with this box of peppers. And we looked at it, we said, well, thank you very much. I hope that we can eat those, because neither Jan nor I are capable of eating anything that's terribly hot. And boy, do they have hot peppers in Thailand. Wowie zowie. And they laughed and said, they're not peppers, they're candies. They're very convincing. But yeah, it's sweet and not at all hot. But anyway, while we were on this trip, one of the places that we visited was the Royal Market. And the Royal Market sells all kinds of produce grown on land that was given to the people by the king. And it's really good stuff. It's top quality stuff. So we bought some stuff there.
I've got a couple of random things coming up next. This is a list of my students. And you can see by the first 2 words that they're kind of unpronounceable. So they shorten their name. They give us a nickname that we can remember. So, Tu, Joy, Pumpui. Pumpui was the hardest one. But the hardest name for me to remember was App's name. Where's App? Down here on the number 6 on the right-hand side. She was the cutest little thing, and she just didn't look like an app to me. I don't know if the words have any meaning in Thai. I didn't want to insult them by saying, well, what does app mean? That's something on my phone. They were just too cute to insult. And I have this in here because we use that a lot. The kids all want to know about America. What state are you from? And then I would tell them about the different states I've lived in, and they were just so interested. It was cool.
So, Peace Fellowship Church is the church that's associated with the Santisuk English Schools. And our branch of the church meets upstairs on the 5th floor in the same building with the school. And they have services on Fridays. Before the services, we have dinner. And this was an unusual thing. They had a cake. We usually don't get cakes. We usually get other stuff. But, boy, they were really good to us.
They were.
The Peace Fellowship Church actually is quite large, and it is found at all the different school campuses around town. I went over to the Siloam campus for Family Day, and all the different church campuses met there together. This is on the 10th and 11th floor of a high-rise office building. They've got 2 floors there, a big meeting room for church services and big activity center. And it was fun because we encountered a lot of people that I had known from last year and otherwise probably would not see, because we're all busy. We don't get to move around much and see each other. While I was there, I encountered Pastor Peter. And Pastor Peter actually taught, in our church service, he presented a sermon one night. He's from Africa, and he always has interesting perspectives on Thailand. So I was asking him, Peter, what do you think are the greatest needs of the church in Thailand? And he said 2 things. One is, you have a startup church, they don't have enough cash to pay their pastors. That's a problem. And so we talked about that. And they do, in fact, have a conference. There is a church conference, and they have ways of moving money around. So there's a partial answer to that problem, but it isn't fully worked out yet. He said the second problem they have is that Thai believers aren't proficient at sharing their faith. It's a hard nut to crack in Thailand. And so one of the ministries that Peter is active in is teaching Thais to do street evangelism. He will give them training classes. They go through several of these classes, and then he'll take groups of them out and speak in public. And he says it's effective. They're learning how to do it.
We went on a recreation day with the cell group outreach. And what we were supposed to do is invite students to come along with, and then you get to, it'd just be another outing, you get to spend time with them.
So we went up north to the Kundan Dam Reservoir, and it's a wonderful place. You can take boat trips out on the lake and go to these little inlets. There are streams, waterfalls. You can hike up into these canyons and see just wonderful sights. So I had some difficulty negotiating that log bridge that was in the previous photo there. And Jan's student Snook to the rescue, grabbed my arm and helped me across the log bridge so I didn't end up in the drink. And Snook felt pretty good about that. But it was a fun time, great team building experience. The trail was narrow. There were multiple log bridges.
Jim is making it sound like he needed a lot of help on that hike. The kids came back from there. I didn't go on it because I knew somebody would see a snake and it wasn't going to be neat. So I didn't, they came back and Snoop was like, "Oh, Teacher Jim, he's so strong." I'm like, "What?" He said, "He hiked up that mountain, he got there first." Well, I said, he spends a lot of time on the battleship climbing ladders that go straight up like that and carrying 5-gallon bottles of water up and down.
So yeah, narrow bridges. We did some climbing with ropes.
Now this lady here, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Fa's sister. Fa is the one that you might have read about in my newsletter that became a Christian. And she's now trying to help her sister find the Lord. So this is Pui.
While we were there, Jan was back at the little restaurant, coffee shop, with one of our students from last year. And
that was Fa. I don't have any pictures of that. It didn't seem like the appropriate time to haul out a camera and start taking pictures.
But things happened there, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. It was pretty exciting. So after we left the dam, we had lunch, and then we drove down to kind of a coffee shop at a resort. And
we eat well.
We pulled off, and we were doing some share time. So I gave a testimony, a bunch of us Fang gave a testimony, several people did, and there was a lot of singing and Bible reading and stuff going on.
And then all of a sudden,
all of our phones start buzzing. And they have an emergency alert system there, just like we have an emergency alert system here. So I pick up my phone, and here's all this Thai, which I translated, and it basically said, "You don't want to be here. You need to move."
Right now.
Right now.
So we were in the bus and gone in minutes.
Yeah, we were out of there in about 5-10 minutes. And the reason that we had to relocate was that. There was a typhoon that blew through town, and a lot of flooding. We didn't have any trouble because we got right on sort of the Thai version of the interstate, which is perfectly fine for any kind of weather.
So then we all go back to Santisuk. By the way, the name Santisuk means peace, so the school was named Peace. And Fa gave her life to Jesus. She had been in the coffee shop with me and Gan, who was our cell group leader's wife, and the two of them were leaders. And Fa, and then there was a guy named Ben. So Fa and I were talking, and Gan overheard me ask her, "So have you actually asked Jesus to be your Savior?" And she said, "Yes." Gan zoomed right in on that. And she said she wanted to ask Fa a couple of questions. So she started talking to Fa, and then I started talking to Ben. And I'd look over, and next thing I know, God's got her Bible out, and she's slipping pages and stuff, and I thought, This is going somewhere that God has orchestrated. I'm going to talk to Ben. So Ben and I visited, and we realized that he was in my cell group from last year. I remembered one of his prayer requests because he said he was doing IT support. And I remembered that last year, somebody in our cell group had asked for a prayer because he was getting no sleep. They were calling him 24/7. And he now has a better job, and he's getting sleep, and he can go on outings like this periodically. So that was kind of fun. So I kept looking over, and God still had the Bible out. I'd keep talking to Ben. And presently, they broke a little bit, and Gon started writing out a list because Fa had said she was ready to accept Jesus, but she didn't want to do it here. She wanted to do it at home by herself. So Gon was writing down the list of all the things to be aware of. And next thing you know, when she hands her the list, she said, I think I want to do it at Santisuk when we get back. And I thought, well, that's kind of, I'm going to have goosebumps. And then the next thing she said is, she turns to me and she said, I want you and Teacher Jim to be there when I do this. So I want to go back and have everybody. So that's why we're there. And everybody's smiling.
This is a wonderful illustration of how Thai evangelism works. Nobody gets credit for this. This is all Spirit of God. And let me just tell you Fa's story here, and you'll see how no person could possibly make this happen. So we didn't get there at the beginning of Fa's journey, but we had her in class last year, and at that time she was interested in the Bible stories, and she had observed that Christians she knew seemed to be happy and nice. That was about the level at which she was looking at things. She didn't like her job because they were abusing her. I prayed with Fa, and I asked her, are there things that you need that you would like me to ask God about? And she said, my job. I knew about her job. So I prayed with her about her job. Jan had made up some pens for us to leave with the kids as souvenirs, and they said, success to you at Santisuk. So I gave Fa one of those pens, and she thought it was nice. She kept it. When we left last year, Jan promised her that we would return to Bangkok and see her again. And then Jan primarily stayed in touch with her through the Line app on our phones. So in the meantime, Fa applied for a job with the Thai government. And this was kind of a long shot. No guarantee she was going to get this, because she didn't graduate from a prestigious university. She signed up for the exam for the job, and she showed up 5 minutes late. And they basically were closing the doors.
But they still let her come in.
She didn't bring 2 pens with her, as was required, but she rummaged around and she found the pen that we had given her last year. So she took that in for the exam. She was rattled because she was expecting it to be only multiple choice questions, but the exam had a lot of writing. She was the very last applicant that they accepted in that pool for the job. 1,000 applicants tested.
Wow.
She made the first cut of 50. She also barely made the second cut of 36. Initially it was 30, but they expanded it to 36. She got the job. She loves the job. It is wonderful. Then she was impressed that we kept our promise and we came back to Bangkok.
Who knew that would factor into anything?
She had visited No Kyun's church. No Kyun was one of our students from last year. No Kyun is Catholic, and a very strong Catholic. Her family's from Vietnam. And so Fa went to the Catholic church. She liked it, but it wasn't quite what she was looking for. So then she visited Krista's church. Krista is one of the workers at Santisuk, and Krista gave her a Bible. Finally, Fa ended up at Peace Fellowship Church, where they have a discipleship program and people with similar life stories. This is like perfect for her. But the cell group outing, the one that we just talked about at the dam, was also amazing. God happened to bring her Bible. She didn't think she needed the Bible. She didn't expect she was going to use it. But she said, I'll just bring it. So she was able then to explain to Fa what commitment Fa had just made and what it means. And she showed Fa how to pray the prayer and asked her if she wanted to do that. So Fa said yes, she wanted to do it back at Santasook with us there. And my goodness, what an honor that was for us. Gon's husband, Brianne, is also a Bible teacher, and he spent a lot of time talking with her that evening to make sure that she had a good understanding of what she was doing. And when she finished, there were hugs and tears all around. She texted Jan late into the evening. It was after 11 o'clock when she said good night. So now her journey is beginning. And this is an enormous step for a time. Her father cannot understand why Fa would turn her back on her heritage, her people, her faith. This makes no sense to him at all. She has a boyfriend who is obviously Buddhist, because if you're Thai, you're Buddhist. And she has a younger sister who she loves to death. Wonderful, wonderful kid. Electrical engineer like me, so we have a connection that way. And Pui is on the journey somewhere. She hasn't made the decision yet, but she's watching what Fa's going through. So Fa needs a lot of prayer. This is just the start.
If God brings that to your mind in the next coming weeks and stuff, would you just give a little prayer for Fa and Pui? That would be cool. Okay, now we're going to skip to another topic totally. Remember I told you that the restaurant lady had left and she got a new location, and I was really missing my pad thai. So there was one of the girls in my class said she had a friend who had a restaurant who made great pad thai. She was going to get some and bring it in the next day. So 3 or 4 other kids said, would you get me one too? Here's something. So the next day we're all sitting out in the outdoor kitchen in front of the lobby enjoying our pad thai. And it was really good. It was even better than the one I remembered. And then these, it was my morning, was it this class? It was in my morning class. They decided that they wanted us to experience Thai sweets. Had we had any Thai treats yet? No. So they said, okay, we're going to take you tomorrow. So they did. They took us out. This picture is in here because that's the gas station that's across the street from our school. And you have to take the Skyway overpass to get there. You wouldn't dare try to walk across that street. You get killed. And then we get over there, and it's a gas station. There's also a laundromat in there, and I think a banking facility, ATM or something, and several other businesses at the gas station. I thought that was just kind of funny. But inside it was really cute. Here they are with their little... This girl here is the one, her name is App. And she was so cute. See that smile on her face with, you see lots of teeth? She was always looking like that. And when I would read her sentences, she would look up with an expectant look. And if I said, yes, that's perfect, she just burst into, she was so cute. I just loved her. Here's what they look like. All of the liquid in there is coconut milk, sweetened coconut milk, which was good. My dessert was actually sweet potatoes in coconut milk. And they snuck in a little birthday cake that they found for Jim, and they got some candles somewhere and lit those. It was so cute. One thing that Snook, my active kid in my morning class, had asked me is, am I on the phone a lot with my granddaughter? I said, well, she doesn't talk yet, but we do FaceTime, so we can do, he goes, what's FaceTime? And I thought, wait a minute, you're 22, you don't know what FaceTime is, and you have an iPhone? Come here, give me your phone. This is FaceTime. And I said, let me see if we can set up a FaceTime. And he said, oh, okay. So we did. We got little Ellie on there, and there's Jessie. And oh, listen, I remembered to take a screenshot just about when we're saying goodbye, because I'm trying to get the kids so that they can see. And then when we left, they gave us little baby outfits for her, which I thought was so sweet. That little green dress and that little two-piece outfit in the middle, it's a camp shirt and shorts. And then the little pants with the elements. Jim has a pair of pants like that
Yeah,
too.
we got outfits too. My pants look like Jan's skirt.
Yeah. And our students gave us all that stuff. They're very sweet people. Here they are, and there's App with a $1 million smile again, right here. I miss that. And all the kids in this class were so nice. This lady here is Penn. She has a boyfriend that she sees about twice a year. He lives in Australia. And some of the things these people put in their essays, they really showed me their heart. I just on a level I couldn't understand. And here we are on the last day saying goodbye. The last day of classes, actually. So this would have been a Thursday.
Yep.
Not a Friday. And this is Snook over here. And I could go over all the names, but that would just be me taking a trip down memory lane. These are two of the girls that we hung out with in the lobby. Jane on the left, she was little, but she had a voice. And when she was down in the lobby playing games, everybody knew it. You could be on the 5th floor and tell Jane was in the building. And this is Maddie, and she was very, very sweet. We had a moment when we got to go to the restaurant that's on the other side of Waitangi Hospital. I don't know if you knew about that one, Judy, the canteen that's back there. And they have a whole bunch of indoor eating areas, indoor cooking areas in there, and then a big central eating area. So the kids that sometimes from the lobby would all go over there because it was a great lunch for very little money. And we'd eat there. And I sat next to Maddie one day and we talked for about a half an hour. And that was really fun. Even though she wasn't my student, we had that connection in the end. And here's what game time at the lobby looks like, just people sitting around tables playing a lot of, what was it again?
Maybe sequence.
Sequence. I can never remember that word, but I got pretty good at it. Except on the last day, does anybody here know how to play sequence?
Yeah.
The last day, I took one of my own pieces off with a one-eyed jack. I was so tired.
Never heard the end of that.
The whole table erupted, and I'm like, what? That's your piece.
We got tired
So
because we were busy.
we were sleep deprived for most of the month. I learned, you know how this means love? I love you. So is this. This is a little love.
Oh, really?
These two fingers like that, it makes a little heart.
Oh, I see it.
So they taught us how to make that little heart, so that we're all doing that. Typical meal: rice and egg and meat of some kind. And then the cucumbers there are along the side. In case you get it too hot, you can cut the heat with the cucumber. Kind of like what sour cream does for you at the Mexican restaurant. Things like that. And then this was our last supper. I had said to Gon early on that it would be fun if the 4 of us could have a date night. And it never happened. Until the night before we left. Saturday night, we were leaving early on Sunday morning, and we went out to dinner at a restaurant that she explained to you why it was special. It was from some...
Oh, they cook home cooking from her own province in the north of Thailand.
And while we were there, we ran into one of my students from last year. So we saw, between the two of us, we saw a total of 5 of our students from the year prior.
The couple that owns and operates this restaurant lives over top of it, and Jan had a student, and I had a student who were their kids.
Yeah.
So we saw Jan's student. My student was out gallivanting around town with friends, so we didn't see her. But
Yeah. That was so cool. And Poom there in the blue shirt on the right, he was my student last year too. He is Gon's nephew, and he now teaches there at the basic levels and the under levels. He's starting to teach there. He wants to be a coach, and I think he's going to be fabulous. This is Jasper, who is still there. He's on long-term missions there from the Philippines. He absolutely loves it. So he had 3 classes this year, which doesn't sound like a lot because they don't put more than 11 in a class. But yeah, Judy's grimacing. She knows. Because not only do you have to prep for the class and be ready to teach it, you have to grade all the papers for it, and you have outings. They expect you to have 2 outings with each class. And often your downtime is planned for you. If you're not doing your laundry or going grocery shopping or something like that, then you've got other stuff. You have teachers' meetings, or there's a cell group, or all this kind of stuff. It's so busy. So he had 3 classes. I wound up helping him with some of his interviews, because one of his levels had interviews, which is just you sit down and ask him a bunch of questions. It's just to get a dialogue started. And you take notes, and then I give those to him.
So Jasper's a younger member of a Filipino family, and the whole family is missionaries.
And pastors.
And pastors. So yeah, another one of his family, Don, was there, and he was teaching and preaching. And
Jasper is just so cute. I mean, he's attractive. He's also about the size of a 12-year-old. And he's just so cute. But you talk to him, and his voice is very mellow. He talks in a gentle tone of voice, no matter what he's saying, and he's deep. When you talk, he's got such a spiritual depth. It's just fun to be in his presence.
so this was my level 2 class. I had these guys in the morning, and everybody has a story here. So this gal was the oldest. She was in her 40s. And I got to tell you, when you reach that age, it is hard to make your mouth do new things. English has a whole bunch of sounds that don't exist in Thai. And this poor lady was working so hard, and she really, really improved in the 15 days that I was teaching her. She's a go-getter. She has started a business selling decorator building products in town. And she's been doing this for a while, and she's decided to expand into internet sales to grow her business. She's a professional, been working for a long time, hopes to boost her career by knowing English, and likes to travel. Guff, newly minted mechanical engineer. Em had like the world's worst job. She was working for the airlines as a customer service rep. So when a flight is canceled and 250 angry people show up at Em's desk wanting to know, what are you going to do about my canceled flight? Yeah, so she saved up enough money that she could quit that, go to English classes, and she doesn't have a lot of money. So after this term, she was going to have to go back and work again to make some more money. Sai wants to travel and see the world, and she decided the best way to do that would be as a flight attendant, cabin crew on Thai Airways. So English is very important for that goal. Min just got his degree from university in graphic design, and he wants to design graphics for the billboards that they have in Bangkok. They have billboards in Southeast Asia like you've never seen. They're 750 feet long, and they're 200 feet tall. All LED arrays, all beautiful colors. And these, you drive past these things, and they just go on and on and on and on. So that's what he wants to get into. So everybody has a story, all really interesting people. And you get to know them, and here's Om. She wants to make money so that she can help her parents and help her siblings. That's frequently a goal of the Thais. They want to help family.
Yeah, when you have talk time is something that's important in the classes. Where you just have a conversation going so the kids get to practice speaking. And we did one time, what would you do if you got $1 million baht? They just dropped into your lap. I had one kid in my class, she has a little girl, and everything that she had went to that girl. She would take it and make a better life for her, get her in school, whatever.
So Em here, very near and dear to us, because when we got there, Jan mentioned that the restaurateur who had been operating the restaurant downstairs had moved, and there's a new lady in there. We didn't know her. She made all different kinds of noodle dishes. And went down there and ordered something by pointing and grunting, which is what I usually do. And I got something that I couldn't eat. It was too hot. So Gon and Griang rescued me the next time. They went down there and ordered for me, but that didn't help really very much. So Em came down with me and she said, "Ba mi nam soy." So I learned that if I went to the noodle lady and I said, "Ba mi nam soy," I would get a big bowl of chicken noodle soup with lots of vegetables and it wasn't hot. And I could eat it. So I lived on that. That would be lunch and dinner because it was a huge serving and it was very filling. Really good stuff. So this was a typical class session. You notice all the cell phones are out? The kids are not texting on their cell phones. They have permission to use the translator on their cell phone to look up words. And so they're reading a story and they're answering questions about the story, and then we'll get back together in a couple of minutes and go over their answers and discuss them. So that was level 2.
These kids are too serious about English to be goofing around on their phones. I mean,
Yeah.
most of mine were in university or something.
Yep.
And every once in a while, attendance is a huge part of the grade. If you miss a day, you miss 6 points out of 100. And I had kids that would have to miss 1 or 2 days because they had exams at university. They're so.
Yeah, so this was my level 1 class. Now level 1 is very different. It's all about learning to pronounce sounds that are unpronounceable.
Sound of the day.
And so, for example, V's and W's are impossible for Thais to learn because they don't have those sounds. R's in certain places in words, can't pronounce them. So we spent a lot of class time drilling on just saying sounds, and we had a very structured approach to this. These kids worked so hard, and day by day, I could see them improving. It was just amazing to watch. They were really, really hardworking kids. Now, these are all professionals, and they would come in after work, get there for 7 o'clock, work hard from 7 to 9, and then poof, they were gone. But again, lots of stories. This is Lita. Lita was 18, and she had just the same time the classes started gotten a job at the hospital. She's there in her hospital uniform, and she was doing data entry. So when you go to the hospital and they shove a stack of papers in your hand on a clipboard and you scrawl all over those disappear behind the door. And Lita is back there typing that into the hospital computer system so that all the doctors and all the people in the hospital have access to your records as soon as you go to see the next person. They were working her to death. This was, I think, her first real job. And she would come in from the hospital and she was just like...
But they have a good job with the record keeping because
Yep.
they knew that I had been there last year.
So that was a good springboard job for her. These guys were amazing. This guy's job, and he had the funniest sense of humor. He would write sentences. Every day the kids would come in with sentences that they had written. And sometimes John would read a sentence and I would just double over laughing because he was very, very clever. Really funny guy.
Some of the sentences were too funny, like the word was good. I have a really good English teacher in my class. And in my head I'm hearing, suck up. And this is Friday night before we're leaving.
Yep.
This guy here in the center is a bit of a celebrity in the Bangkok area because he has a YouTube channel and he teaches drums. I think he teaches drums online. His name is Bass. And Hui was so excited to meet him. In fact, when I said to her, do you want to meet him? Because she's telling me, oh, that's Bass. I'm like, you want to meet him? Oh, no, I couldn't. So I walk over and I, come here, Bass, I got somebody who wants to meet you. And it's just the nicest thing. He plays drums upstairs in her church service. He's a Christian, and he was happy to meet her and just make her day. And this is her friend Bang over here. And Fa could not make it that night. They were working her too hard at her job. So they sent her this and like, eat your heart out. Okay, and there we are at our goodbye lunch with Fa and Hui the day before we left. And there we are at the airport. They just didn't want to let us go.
Fa and Pui took us to the airport to see us off.
Yeah, they got the grab van. They rode up there with us in the grab van. And then they kept taking pictures. When we finally got through the first security thing and we went up the gate, I turned around and yep, there they are. Still looking. I think we broke her heart when we left. So I want to make sure I stay in touch. And there's our obligatory sunset picture as missionaries, because you always have to close with one. And we did have one, so. We had a lot of clouds. We had some rain. It wasn't terrible, but the clouds keep the temperature down. If that sun's beating down on you, it's really
We
hot.
love the clouds.
Anyway,
All right,
That is us.
that's it. Any
Thank you so much.
You gonna close in prayer?
Yeah, Art, would you like to close us in prayer?
Sure. Father, we're grateful that we got this wonderful, that they had this wonderful opportunity. What? Wonderful opportunity, and we just thank you for the generous presentation they made, very informative, and we just ask that you bless them, and if it would be an opportunity for them to do this again, that you provide that, which I'm sure they'd be happy to do. And we just thank you and ask that you be with us through the rest of the day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.